Hey guys, welcome to an unfettered tutorial. Today we're going to learn how to do this Happy New Year lettering with the neon glow and some gold confetti in the background to really celebrate the new year. So grab your iPad and let's hop right in. Okay, I'm going to start by creating a square size canvas in Procreate. I've got my color palette set up already, this New Year palette with the golds and blacks. You can find this in the notes below the video. First thing I'm going to do is create a background layer, which we are going to color this kind of dark gray, not quite black color. I'm going to add a new layer for my lettering, which I'm just going to call Happy New Year. And I've got my gold color selected. I'm going to use the monoline brush that comes in Procreate. And I'm just going to letter Happy New Year on my canvas in kind of a bouncy, fun monoline style. Okay, so now I'll go through if there's anything I need to clean up, like these little edges that cross over. I'm going to go through and just erase and tidy up my lettering so that it looks nice and monoline. Okay, so with that all clean and monoline, now we're going to start applying some effects to make it look like it's neon lettering, like it's glowing. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to duplicate this layer, or Happy New Year lettering layer, 2 times. So just slide it over to the left, hit duplicate, do the same thing. So these 2 layers are actually going to be our blurry, glowing layers that will make the letters look like they are neon. So we can just rename these Blur 1 and Blur 2 just to keep things tidy. What I'm going to do is apply a Gaussian blur to each one of these. So I'll start with the first one. We go up here to the magic wand, hit Gaussian blur, and then you just slide your pen across the screen to increase the blur. So for this one, I'm going to start kind of small, so that's a little more concentrated, and it just barely, you start to kind of see that glow come off the letters. And I think I'm going to stop around 6%. Okay. Then with the second blur layer, I'm going to select it, again go to the magic wand, hit Gaussian blur, and this one is more to provide a further glow effect. So it doesn't need to be so tight to the letter, so we'll kind of spread it out a little more. Oops, I'm on motion blur. I'm on Gaussian blur and then spread it out so that it really looks like that glow is coming off your lettering. Let's see, this one, I'm going to extend it out about twice as far. We'll keep it around 12%. Okay, we've got some glow around our layers. They're starting to look a little bit neon, but we really want that, that brightness to come through. We want it to look a little more realistic. So go to your layers panel, add a new one right above your base lettering. We'll name this one Highlight. And what we're going to do is we're going to select the brightest yellow gold color in your palette, and with your monoline brush, you're going to go over your letters again, but with a much smaller brush so that you're really just creating like a lighter stroke right in the middle of your lettering. So you're going to go through all of your letters and try to get that right in the center as close as you can. Okay, so once you've gone through all of your letters with that lighter color, we're also going to apply a blur to this. So go back to your magic wand, hit Gaussian blur, zoom in a little better so you can see, and then apply your Gaussian blur by sliding your pencil across the screen to the right. And I'm going to keep this so that you can still see that there's kind of a bright line there, but you don't see any hard edges. So I'm going to bring this up to just about 2% right there. We'll unselect that. And now when you zoom out, you can see this is really getting more of kind of that neon glow effect. To make it pop even more, we're going to add a drop shadow underneath your lettering. So what you'll want to do is duplicate your Happy New Year layer and drag it underneath the two blur layers. And we want to make this black. So you can tap Select, grab black, come back, tap your layer again, hit Fill Layer. And you can't see it because it's right underneath Happy New Year, but that is now black. And so what we want to do is pull it a little bit down and to the right so that we can see that shadow. So I'm just going to hit the cursor tool, which will select that whole layer. And now I'm just going to pull it down and to the right. And you can see already how that really makes that lettering pop off the page. I'm not going to go too far. I think just about there looks good. So deselect, and already that's giving a whole lot more dimension to our piece. The last thing we're going to do to kind of make the lettering pop off the page is we're going to add this kind of glow to the background. So tap your background layer, add a new layer right on top. You can name this glow if you want. And then go back and grab your lightest gold color again. Then you're going to look in the Procreate default airbrushes. There's one called Soft Brush. This is just a big airbrush with really soft edges. And make it kind of small. Tap on the screen, select it, and now expand it. So this is going to create a really bright backdrop behind your lettering. This, by the way, is a tip I picked up from Tila Cunningham's tutorial, so I can't take credit for this technique, but it's something I've really enjoyed using to really make lettering stand off the page and kind of give that 3D effect. So it's a little too bright on its own at the max, so what you want to do is tap on the N in your glow layer, and then that'll reveal the opacity, and you can just drag that down so that it's just kind of the soft light behind your lettering. I'm actually going to expand this a little more just so there are softer edges. Okay, so this is all we're doing with our lettering, and now we can add that gold confetti in the background. So what we want to do is go back to our layers, make a new layer. We can name this confetti. Use any color, it doesn't matter because we're going to use a clipping mask, which I'll talk about in a minute. But go back to your monoline brush. You can bump it up in size a little bit and just start making dots, squiggles, shapes, whatever shape you want your confetti to take in the background. Okay, I think that's good. Now what you want to do is you want to find a gold glitter or foil image, which you can do by heading to a free stock photo website like unsplash.com. That's where I found this one, thanks to Katie Harp. But they have free stock images that you can download. So I just searched, I think, gold or gold glitter, and this came up. I downloaded it to my iPad, and now I'm going to import it into Procreate. So how you can do that is tap on the wrench, click Add, insert a file or insert a photo, depending on where you saved it, and then it'll add it to your image. So what we're going to do is we're going to clip this gold texture to all the confetti we just made. So you need to make this gold image as big as all of the confetti on your illustration. So you can see there's some up here, some down here. My image is not big enough, so I'm just going to expand it. I clicked on that selection tool, and I'm just dragging it out to cover my image. Deselect, and now you can rename this if you want. But to create a clipping mask, you're just going to tap on the layer, hit clipping mask, and you have to make sure that confetti is right underneath it. And now what's happening is all that confetti we drew, it's pulling in that gold foil, gold glitter texture, so it shows up gold. And that is all there is to it. This is our Happy New Year piece. We wrote it in a monoline script. We made it look like a neon lettering with some glow, some Gaussian blur effects. We added a drop shadow, some glow to the background, and then we drew in some confetti and used a clipping mask with a gold foil image to make it look like textured confetti. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. As always, if you have any questions or comments or want to make suggestions on what you'd like to see next, please leave those in the comments section below. Thanks!